All right, so I've tried recording this a couple of times already to varying levels of failure. But today I'm here to talk about my friend Skipntosh, Curtis. If you were active on this channel, particularly if you watch the Hangout, the live streams, or if you're active in the Comics Are Dope community, the Dope Fiends on Discord, then you'll know who Skip is and was. I don't know how Skip found my channel, but when I started the Discord to go along with the Facebook group, Skip was one of the first people to join, and he, had all these ideas, and so I made him a moderator so he could kind of help make the Discord run and function, and he became the top contributor. He was like a daily presence. He was a daily presence in our Discord group, and he and I became friends through that experience, but also just kind of offline as he would reach out to me to help with like different troubleshooting things and stuff. We'd jump on calls, and we ended up bonding, of course, first over comics, but then over like family. We both have two daughters. Over our faith. We're both Christian, and he just became a great friend to me. I always called him like my big brother in comics. Fun fact, if you've ever listened to the Comics Are Dope podcast, that podcast only exists because Skip was like on me to do it. Like whenever I first floated the idea, he's like, all right, a podcast that I can get behind. And he just kept checking in, like, hey, what's going on with the podcast? You got some ideas here? We can do some stuff together. I can pull in some of my comic creator friends. We can do interviews. And he really was like the driving force behind that podcast, and even joined me as a co-host for most of the episodes. And actually, during the recording of the last episode, Skip was just like visibly not feeling well, and he was telling me about just some issues he had been having, and he was like, yeah, I'm gonna go see a specialist tomorrow, try to figure out what's going on. And really shortly after we filmed that episode, he got his cancer diagnosis and started a fairly aggressive treatment plan. And it hasn't even been 2 months. And over the weekend, I learned that he passed last week. And it's been really difficult to deal with that fact. And so, I don't know. I had a few ideas for like how to do this video. I don't know that there's much of a way to do this video without just being overwhelmed emotionally. Even editing the last podcast episode, I told him the reason, because we filmed that like a month before it came out, and I told him like, I didn't want to edit this episode because I didn't like seeing him sick and knowing what the sickness was. It just made me, I didn't want to deal with what that could have meant. And yeah, now we're on the other side of that, and that's so weird. So the only way I know to get through this is like in the most corny way possible. According to Skip, I've written a statement. I'm gonna read the statement that I wrote, and then I'll probably add some stuff to it. But last week we lost a dear friend in the comics community. Curtis Fisher, aka Skipntosh, was like a big brother to me. I enjoyed telling him as much when we recorded our podcast episodes together. I don't know how he found the channel or our community, but he immediately made his presence felt. He was always there to plug awesome indie comics and challenge us to think deeply in our critiques. Skip cared deeply about comics, about music, about basketball, and about people, most of all. Skip loved being a part of the community. He loved storytelling that went beyond the surface. He loved obsessing over scripts, line art, coloring, and lettering, probably in that order. He loved seeing everyone get the praise their art deserved, and he wanted to contribute to their successes in any way that he could. In some instances, that was reaching out behind the scenes to give me audio advice. In other instances, whenever he's on any sort of public platform, he is enthusiastically singing praises of people like Jonathan Hickman, Nick Dragotta, Dan Waters, Ram V, his friends Justin Greenwood, Rico Renzi. There's so many others that he would champion on a daily basis. Skip wanted a healthy fandom. He wanted a place where we could all bond over great stories and great art. And even if we didn't agree on the quality of the storytelling, we could at least bond over the fact that it was comics that brought us together in the first place. If a conversation got too toxic, Skip didn't really want to participate, except to sort of fan the flames, or to not fan the flames, but to quiet the storm, so to speak. And I think that's why we were lucky enough to have him as such an active contributor to the Comics Are Dope community, because we try to stay out of toxicity as well. But whether the debate was about Tom King, LeBron versus MJ, the best 80s B movies, Skip just loved a healthy discussion. In the days since I learned of his passing, I'd been trying to decide what to institute on the channel in Skip's honor. Maybe an indie pick of the week, or like a monthly citizenship award to like the top contributor in the groups or something. But the truth is, there's nothing that I can do to fill the void that's left by Skip's passing. He was one of a kind in a way that can't really be quantified. Perhaps the best I can do is to amplify these words by our mutual friend, Bunkmaster B. In Bunk's words, Skip's only gone if we let him be gone. When we talk about our favorite comics, and particularly dope indies, Skip's there. When we have disagreements with each other, but always keep it super respectful and take time to listen to what the other person is saying, instead of waiting for our turn to say why they're wrong, Skip's there. When we choose to see the good and the beauty in things, even when everyone else is just latching on to surface level reasons why it's bad, Skip's there. So right now my prayers are with Curtis's family, especially his two daughters, his friends across all fandoms. He was a huge fan of the Sacramento Kings. He loved music and he was active. He made music all the time. So with all the people who knew him best and knew him better than I did, my prayers are with him. And I'll thank you for sharing him with us in like all these online communities. And if you knew Skip, if you knew Curtis, I'd love to read about, some of your favorite memories with him. So if you could leave those in the comments down below. That's one thing that I've been enjoying doing since I found out. It's just reading all the tributes that have been pouring in, like on Twitter and in different YouTube comments and stuff like that. And it's really cool to see that I'm not special. Like, I'm not some person that Skip showed favoritism to. Like, Skip really was like about fandom. Skip really was like about helping people, like YouTubers of all sizes. If you were running a podcast, if you loved comics, if you loved basketball, if you loved music, he wanted to talk about it with you, and he wanted to help amplify your voice in any way that he could. And so it's been really, really cool to see that it wasn't just my podcast that he wanted to help out. It wasn't just, me that felt his presence in such a meaningful way. But it really was like so many. There were so many of us. And man, we are all better for having had Skip in our lives. I've really enjoyed getting to know him, in particular over the past year that we were in pretty constant communication. And man, I miss him already, bro. Already. So, yeah, those purple heart emojis, I'm gonna miss seeing those. Unless we keep posting them. But I said I was gonna get through this. And yeah, appreciate you all, and long live Skip.